Hey, welcome back to Girls Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. Today I have a really versatile design for you. It's a card with a matching sleeve, and you can fill this design in well, endless possibilities. In the video I'm showing you how to cut, fold and score the card. I'm going to show you how you can make a notch in the sleeve, and I have a Stamparatus masking technique for you. So here you have another look at the prototype. I've just used cardstock and designer series paper, which is no longer current. I'll show you, as promised, some more examples. This is an option. I made this for somebody who passed their exams. It means that they've graduated. That's Dutch for it, and saying that they did a good job. You can also have your card sideways like this. Because of the dark cardstock, I've put some more white on the back so that you can write a message on it. And this is another card that I've made, which I really like as well. Beautiful roses. And this is the one that I'm going to recreate today. And for all three cards I have used the Wonderful World Design Series paper with the Wonderful World stamp set, and this is of course a celebration bundle. Depending on your market, it's either £90 or €120, and if you spend for that amount of money you get both the designer series paper and the stamp set, which are really beautiful. I hope it's not too shiny. Right then, I'm going to show you how to make this card. The paper I've used, I've shown you already. I have a scrap of basic white, a scrap of rich raspberry, and I'm using Blushing Bride for the card. I've used Biggest Wish stamp set and of course Wonderful World stamp set. I've also used the glittered organdy ribbon, wit organdy lint met glitter. I'm going to use the stitched rectangles. And I'm going to use the Beautiful Shapes dies for the sleeve of the card. So first let's do the cutting of the sleeve. I'm trying to create some space on my desk now. Hope that I'll be able to find everything later on. Right, paper trimmer. This is a piece of 6 by 12, so it was a 12 by 12 sheet which I've cut in half, and you can see I've cut it in this direction because I want the sleeve to go like that. If you want your sleeve to be like this, thinking of the word, you would have to do the cutting like that, because then your sleeve would fold like this and you would see the pattern like this, you see? So it depends on where you want the pattern to go. There are patterns where it doesn't matter, there are patterns where it does matter. So this was 6 inches by 12, and then I'm going to cut this down to 6 by 9.5 inches. Don't discard this because I'm going to use that on the card. Then I can close the arm. It's easier when filming, and I'm going to do some scoring. With a long side top, you score at 4.5 and at 9.5. Now you can put the arm out again. You could also do a score line there on the right at the half-inch mark. It works out at the same measurement. Then you turn it and again you make a half-inch score. And I'm going to do some cutting on my trimmer, and I'll move it up a bit. You see the score line there? Well, you probably can't see it. Now, the score line is on the groove. Now I'm moving my paper to the right, well, about 1/16 of an inch, and I'm going to do some cutting, and I cut from the bottom as far as that score line. So you can see where you are, you can also feel it, and now I have cut just inside that line to the left of it, which is important. I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to do some cutting First I'm going to trim this bit, makes life easier. Then I'm going to cut away a strip there as well, just a tiny strip. I mean, if you put it on the groove and then you move it to the right, so I think you're cutting off about a 1/16 of an inch, I don't know, something like that, you see. So just a very small strip, 2 millimeters, I don't know, yeah, 2 millimeters. Then I'm going to put some tearing tape onto my envelope. Well, it's a kind of envelope, isn't it? A sleeve or an envelope. And you put it on the inside, your tearing tape. And when I've done that, I'm going to do some cutting. You just go up to that score line because you're going to cut away that bit anyway. With my bone folder, I don't need a ruler, just a bone folder. I'm going to flatten this. I'm going to do some snipping. Oh, better do some folding first because then my score lines will be better visible. Okay, so here you wedge and you wedge there. By putting your tearing tape on before cutting, you make absolutely sure that the tearing tape goes all the way to the end. Apart from there, she said. Okay, now then, I'll show you why it was important to cut off those bits, the bottom bit and that bit. You want to make sure that this panel fits inside the score lines of that panel, so that when you fold it over, it'll be nice and flat, so you see? If you don't, your envelope will tend to bulge a bit, and I didn't want that for this card design. Then I'm going to show you how I make the notch in the top of the sleeve, and for that I'm using my Beautiful Shapes and then the second largest of the rounded ones. I've put marks on it. You just figure out where the middle is on your grid paper and then you mark it. I use a Sharpie marker for that, and then you have to figure out what is the middle of your card. So I'm just checking if these are equal sides. I think they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the middle. 9 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Then you put your die on top of the card stock, designer series paper. That one is along the grid line and that one is along the top, and then you know it's absolutely straight, and you secure it temporarily and then you fold it open again and you die cut this. I'll go and do that. Then you can stick down the glue flaps, and I prefer to do the bottom one first. It's just a matter of taste, I suppose. And that is the basic sleeve. You can flatten it. So that's the sleeve. Then for the card, this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've cut it slightly smaller than 5 1/2 so that when you slide it in, it'll go inside the envelope. If you don't, it'll stick out a bit, and I didn't want it to stick out. Now then, I told you not to discard this piece because I'm going to stick it onto the card base, and I want it about 1/4 inch from the left, you see. So I'm going to adhere this and spread the glue, and then you do cut off the bits that stick out. Then I want to make a slot in the top of my card so that you can pull it out with a bit of ribbon, and I'm using the Very Best Trio punch for that. And now I want 8 and a bit. That's the measurement that was in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a bit. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a bit. Because I want to determine the middle of this piece of cardstock. And with a pencil, I do this. Because you see, on this punch, you can punch a slot and there's this line on it. So when you slide your card in, I'm looking from the top and it continues there. So you can look from the top or from the side, and you make sure that it butts up against these two, I don't know what they will be called, edges, and put it in, oh, sticky fingers in there, and then you punch and you have a slot which is nicely in the middle, and then with your eraser you take away your pencil line. Then my ribbon over here, you just slide it through. And I'm taking, I don't know how many inches, about 5 inches I suppose it is. I'm not sure, it could be less. Then I make a loop, and I could have taken a bit more. Well, I just pull through these two ends through that loop. There you go. And then you tighten. And when you pull these two ones, your tiny bow will go to the bottom. And now I'm tying one more knot, and then I can snip off the ends which are too long, and this is a bit too long as well, so I'm just snipping off a bit at an angle. So you now have very little wastage of my beautiful ribbon. So that's ready, almost ready, because I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm using the stitched rectangles for this, and I'm using the 5th largest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and later on I'm going to use the 4th largest as well. I'm going to use Biggest Wish, and then the Happy Birthday, which I have already mounted onto a block like that. I'm going to do some stamping. Then I'm going to die cut this, and I'll be back when I've done that. And I can adhere this on top. And this then can go inside the sleeve. Now I did want something else on top of the sleeve. I'm looking for my card here, and I decided to put a rose on top. I'm going to show you how you can mask with your Stamparatus to get this rose in 2 colours, because the stamp is just one stamp. And I'm taking it out now because I'm going to need the 6th largest of the, so I've just used the 5th largest, and I'm taking the 6th largest of the stitched rectangles and the rose and my Stamparatus. Oh gosh. So I can use this bit of paper again, just snip off what is too much. I'm going to set it up on my Stamparatus, and you're going to need the masking paper as well. I don't think I told you in the beginning, did I? Okay, so I'm securing it with magnets, and my masking paper, I've made a box for it. So these are the full-size sheets, and these are the ones that I've cut off, and I'm going to be making more of these cards. So I already stamped the roses. And I'm going to show you the masking technique. First, I'm taking out my stamp, and I'm going to put it trying to figure out roughly in the middle. My piece is large enough, and then the rose goes like that. Okay, picking it up now. I have stamped it once on my masking paper, and I'm going to cut off the flower itself. I'm keeping that, and I'm putting this on top of the flower. So I'll remove the backing paper, and I'm sticking this on top, and I'm trying to match it to that rose as best as I can, so to where I've cut it off. Then I'm going to stamp in Pear Pizzazz. I remove that mask and stamp. And now I'm putting the other mask onto what I've stamped, and because this is now a large piece, I'm trying to get the backing paper off. Can't see very well with my reading glasses. That's better. I have a tip for you. As I was saying, this is a large piece now, so I just put it onto my hand and my arm a couple of times because I don't want it to stick too much. I want to be able to remove it very easily. So I'm putting this on top of what I've stamped, and I hope these are still wet. They are. This is just a bit of the chamois that I've cut off. Now I'm cleaning my stamp because I don't want to put green onto my Melon Mambo. Normally it wouldn't matter because the mask is there and you can stamp over that, but I don't want to contaminate one ink pad with the other. So now I'm going to stamp the Melon Mambo and stamp it on top of that. And then you have your rose, and then you can remove the mask. And if it happens, and it did happen to me before, that there was no connection between the two, you could use your blender pen and then just elongate that green a bit. And now I can use my die to die cut the rose, and I want the rose to go a bit towards the bottom. I want my image to be matted onto some rich raspberry, and the next die I just found too big. I didn't like the look of it. I mean, if you take the 5th largest, you see the effect. I thought it was just too big. I wanted something which was smaller. So I'm going to do it like this, and I'll show you. We have here a piece of rich raspberry, and I'm going to stick it just 1/8 of an inch and make sure I have a straight corner. Yep, so this edge is better. I'm putting it on. Same method, bit of seal in the middle. And then some Tombow. And I'm sliding it over there. Make sure it adheres. And then you can cut by hand with just about the same edge. You can have the white as your cutting guide, and then you can make an edge which is any size you want. It's a shame that there is no stitch line, but okay, I just wanted it to be smaller. And your card is finished. Well, I hope you have enjoyed watching today's video. Thank you very much for being with me. Dank je wel voor het kijken and see you next time. Bye!